boys.
Is it doing it?
It's doing it.
Doing it, and it doing it well. You guys know that song?
Classic song.
Danny Boy's writing. Danny Boy's in the chat, and he's writing stuff bad. He's doing a lot of typos. I have to call him out for it. I got you. I see you. Maggie, Danny, Steven, welcome. You're all beautiful people. I have a headache, but I'm not going to let it come through in this performance. This is performance art.
It is.
And Maggie, you know, because you do. Steven, actually, I don't know too much about you. I don't know if you do performances. But Maggie, I know you do plays. And sometimes the show must go on, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Speaking of shows,
yes.
The more I read about... I want to listen to the music of The Greatest Showman, but I don't really want to watch the movie. Even though people will be like, it's a beautiful visual. But it's like, I don't know if there's actually a really positive lesson out of what P.T. Barnum did to the world. You know what I mean? Creating circuses may not have been the best idea.
May not have been, but he's also, I don't know, like stuff like, either there's a quote attributed to him, like there's a sucker born every minute, which definitely is not something he ever said.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like most people. He's probably been overhyped and also been turned into a bad person that he's not. He's just a dude.
I saw a clip from
that's really good at marketing, like exceptionally good at marketing.
There's a clip in the movie where he's talking to, I think, a little person. What I don't know what word I'm supposed to say. And he's basically, he's trying to hire him to be part of the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, people are laughing at you anyway. Might as well make $1. And it's like, that's a weird thing to teach kids. That's a super weird thing to teach kids.
Yeah, I mean, but get paid.
I don't know if that's a lesson.
Well, it's a lesson. Let me reconstitute that. Mm-hmm. The idea of you can't affect the way they react to you, mm-hmm. but you can affect the way you react to it and get paid.
Mm-hmm. And the music.
I'm not even sure. Is the music? Is it that good?
It won. It was nominated for a Golden Globe.
That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Yeah. There weren't any other musicals. You have to put something in the comedy music category, so they put Get Out there.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That reminds me of an article I read today that I'm not going to talk about here because some of the things it brings up are kind of sensitive.
Go for it.
And I don't feel like I need to necessarily hash out my issues with it publicly.
Text it to me.
I will text it during the show, and then you can read my text.
Uh-huh. Oh, crazy. I just found an article texted to me. I'll read it. Cool. We're going to talk about Avengers Infinity War. Let's get going.
Because we've seen it. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, we have. We have. Early views.
All right, ready?
Maggie Whitmer, Danny Boy, Ulysses Campbell, Teresa Sims, Stephen Walker. Y'all best. Here we go.
3,
2,
1.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to Only Stupid Answers, the best damn podcast. You complete your moist.
It's the sound of moisture, everybody.
Little ears into. Y'all hate me in the morning right now. 5 a.m. Whoever is bright-eyed, bushy-tailed downloading this at 5 a.m. On their way to work, hope you have a good day. And I'm sorry, that's what I chose to do to you. But hey, hopefully you enjoy the rest of this podcast. We're going to be talking about all sorts of fun, nerdy stuff.
Yeah, on this podcast, we like to talk about movies.
Maybe.
TV shows.
Always.
Comic books.
Hey, yeah.
Supernatural sometimes.
100%.
Yeah. So, I'm DJ Wooldridge.
Hello.
And you can find me at DJ Talks Trash, every place that matters.
Class, say hello to Mr. Wooldridge.
Across from me is... Across from me is...
Doctor. I'm going to be the teacher that makes you call him Doctor. Dr. Samuel Bashur.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today. The lecture will be on psychology. All right, take out your pens and papers. We're going to be taking a test. By the way, I tweeted out something this week, and I don't think I got enough credit for it.
Cool.
I really appreciate it. I wrote Psychology 101 in 4 words, and this is Pavlov.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Dogs spit cuz bells. I tweeted that out, and I don't think that got enough credit.
You don't think there was enough of a response for
Dogs spit cuz bells.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking like. That's just, you don't even need to understand what that means. Dogs spit cuz bells.
Yeah.
It's true.
Go follow Sam at Sam Basher.
Thank you.
Go like that tweet.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. So.
I'm sorry, a little salty.
So.
Spit. So, anyways, we like to talk about all kind of pop culture things. We have a few segments we like to do up top.
Yes.
One specifically.
Yeah.
Is a different one I was going to talk about, but I just thought about
this. What's happening right now?
I got dog spit on the brain. Dog spit in my brain.
So that you can listen to this podcast a ton of places. You're already listening to it. Thank you. If you want other places to listen to it, or you want to know more about our YouTube channel, our merch store, any of that, you can go to onlystupidanswers.com. You can follow us on Twitter at onlystupidanswers.
Yank out the vowels from dog spit, and then you can find it right there.
But you're right, Sam. At the top of the episode, we like to do a few things. One of them is we like to read our 5-star reviews on iTunes. If you go up there and you can leave a little 5-star review, write a little review for it, we would like to read that.
Sometimes from Patreon, too. Yeah. We also like when you do that.
Because we post these episodes, they're basically everywhere, but we also post them on Patreon where we have a bunch of other programming, and you can go write a little review or comment about the episode itself, and we'll read that too. But today, we have a 5-star review from iTunes.
Here, I'll intro you, and then you can read the review.
All right, you're going to give me the most of the reading.
Here it comes. My ears are not only moist, but fulfilled. 5 stars. This is from South. It's SAOFH. South. Gotta get that H in there. Go ahead.
It's South. This podcast talks about all the things I love and leaves me smiling with the stellar frickin' execution. Sam and DJ are so cool and bring up smart and funny reviews of things nerdy or otherwise. Heart star emojis. Also, I'm so glad. Are those emojis?
Yeah, yes, they are, Grandpa.
So
yes.
But is that the term? Because emoji,
emoji is correct.
With the face. I didn't know if the symbols also count as emojis.
I wish you called them emoticons. Can we call them emoticons?
Yes, let's go back to emoticons. That sounds like a Transformers enemy.
Emoticon.
Also, I'm so glad DJ shares some of my less popular opinions on things. Sorry it took me so long to write a review. I am a lazy boy, but also a very appreciative boy for the existence of this podcast and Sam and DJ.
Well, we appreciate you existing as well.
Glad we can have unpopular opinions together.
Gross. We'll do. I'll come up with some unpopular opinions. Gotta toe the line though. I'll find something.
Gotta watch it.
But thank you so much. We really appreciate that. If you're listening in for the first time, or if you're a repeat viewer and you just haven't made your way over to those iTunes reviews, we would very much appreciate if you did a few. And maybe one day we'll go through all the 1-star reviews. There's 3.
There's 3. Many. Yeah, we're doing all right with in the 1-star review.
One of them I want to print it out and frame it. It's about time travel, and it was, it was a genuine complaint.
Yeah, this person definitely didn't know what podcast he was listening to when he started. But for today's episode, Avengers: Infinity War is on the horizon. It's on its way, and so we wanted to talk a little bit about people's expectations and some speculation and what we would like to see and what would surprise us. But every episode, before we get into our main topic, we just like to catch up with each other and talk about what we're into that week. But before we even do that...
There you go. We have a friend of the show we'd like to introduce to you very quickly. Guys who are listening, guys and gals joining us, eHarmony is what you're missing out on. eHarmony.
eHarmony. Go make an account.
Go check it out.
They don't have to. They can just make an account, right?
Use the free trial, make an account, and just see.
Yeah, use the free trial, make an account, see what happens.
Yes, but hey, you're not getting ad reads with the Patreon. Let's get going. Oh, we got some friends of the show. All right, what are we into this week, DJ? I know.
I'm super excited.
This might not be the thing you're into, but I know last night you watched.
I did watch something.
Important movie.
We talked about. We watched Rampage. That's the big movie that came out this week. But you can check out a review at youtube.com/onlystupidanswers or again at onlystupidanswers.com. That's not what I want to talk about. It's a fun movie. It's fine. Here's what I want to talk about. So we've been rewatching the Netflix Daredevil season 1
for this special project that you guys will figure out about soon.
Yeah. And we started talking about the original Ben Affleck movie, which I've never seen. And so I went back the other night, and it was on HBO Now. It was streaming on HBO Now. However, I figured I was only going to watch this movie once, and I've heard that the director's cut is significantly better. Not necessarily great, but significantly better.
I wonder do you know who told you that? Because I have never...
I double-checked, because I don't like to spend money, so before I rented it, I double-checked, and a lot of sites are like, oh, way better.
Gotcha, okay, because I know no one who talks about this movie anymore. Yeah, so I was like, who's more chit-chatting about
No,
this?
but it was more back in the day. That was the impression I'd gotten when the director's cut was first released. So it's like, I'm watching it, this is probably the only time I'm going to do it, so I popped for the $3 to watch the director's cut, and my quickie review of, in case you're wondering, if you're like, oh man, should I watch Daredevil, is it would be really good if it weren't so bad.
Yeah,
that's my quickie review.
That's a confusing thing to say.
Well, here's the thing: there's parts of it, there's a lot of ideas in it that are cool and work, and it is an interesting take on the character. However, and I don't think I'm going to feel bad saying this, it's really poorly directed. Like, it's...
And a lot of stuff doesn't track. A lot of stuff is just confused. It doesn't... A lot of stuff just straight up... Not even to get too far into it, doesn't make sense.
Well, here's the thing. Like, watching the director's cut, plot-wise, everything pretty much lines up. Because apparently the original one was hacked to shit by the studio.
The original release.
So a lot of the plot stuff doesn't... Like, what's happening. This one, it all tracks pretty well. But it's just stuff like there's a fight in a bar that's completely incomprehensible. There's a part where Daredevil's jumping on from fans and guys are shooting at the spinning fans, and then they're getting hit by something. And I think what I'm supposed to assume is happening is they're hitting the fan blades and it's kicking the bullets back at them.
Yeah. Daredevil went in there earlier that week and installed titanium blades. You just don't understand. Yeah.
And then that was the weird thing. I think I saw this bit on TV, and it was weird watching it again with what I know of Daredevil. When he straight up throws a guy in front of a train, and lets that guy get cut in half by a train, I was like, wait a second. That's not the Daredevil I know. Mm-hmm. I think they were setting up for an arc, because later he decides, not spoilers for the 2004?
2003. It's 15.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't kill Kingpin. At the end, Michael Clark Duncan is great for King. If nothing else, the physicality.
He gained a crazy amount of weight for that role too.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like in the final fight, it's like that's whenever they describe him in the comics as like he's big but with muscle. It's like that's the physicality that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And I can't think of another performer that has that same physicality. Everybody looks like they're having a lot of fun.
Like that Matrix flip thing in the park.
Yeah, there's this weird. Also, how does nobody figure out what's going on with Matt Murdock? Because he's having big, like, playful flip fights with Elektra in a kids' park where all the kids are up against the fence cheering for them, and he was holding his cane.
Yeah, we know what. Like, we get it. You're blind. We know you're blind.
Yeah,
we know, and you're doing things that, no offense, but a blind person probably couldn't be able to do.
I wish there was a cut to one of the kids sitting in the back. Is he faking it?
Yeah. That's kind of a dick move, to be honest. Yeah. Also, it was kind of confusing. I like the way they show his powers, for the most part, in the movie.
Yeah.
But when he's a kid and he gets the powers, all of a sudden he can do, like, gymnastics.
They do the little hand wave. It's like, with my heightened senses gave me better strength and agility.
Why?
What?
When I can smell better, I can't lift things better.
I don't know. What?
Yeah, the bad juice went through his eyes and down to his pecs.
Oh, the CGI is super dated.
It is so bad.
The CGI is so dated. But I do like the way they introduce his radar sense and the way they depict it, especially when it first kicks in when he's in the hospital and he's hearing the IV drip, and it kind of helps create the space. And then in the iconic, this is probably the only scene you could call iconic from this movie, rain sequence where he sees Elektra's face, which gets great payoff later when he's seeing her face in the rain at the funeral of her father, and she puts up an umbrella so it's covered. But if the umbrella kept him from seeing her, that's a flaw in the radar sense that's supposed to be able to help him super fight.
Then he doesn't need to sleep in that metal coffin.
Yeah,
it's like it's like a Chris Angel magic trick he sleeps in. Oh, by the way...
Also, I don't know how he affords his apartment.
No! Makes no sense.
Yeah, because it's the same situation as the show where all the clients can't pay them, they just give them shit. Mm-hmm. But he has like a high-tech bat cave for an apartment.
Kevin said that Colin Farrell owned it, though.
Colin Farrell's having... I don't know if he owned anything. He's having a lot of fun. He's having... he's having his head.
You can tell based just on the audio that I'm smacking my forehead.
The stupidest thing in the whole movie, Bullseye gets all the stupidest things in the movie. When he like puts a paperclip behind his hand and then like pulls it out and it's straight somehow. Mm-hmm. And then the dumbest thing I think in the entire movie is when Daredevil hits a stained glass window above Bullseye, and Bullseye just moves his hands back and forth.
I forgot about that.
He gets the stack of glass, and then he like shuffles it off at Daredevil, and then Daredevil backflips as if none of that's supposed to. Your center of mass is still essentially where he was aiming.
Hey, if you're gonna start poking holes in that, the Daredevil show, he backflips out of the way of bullets all the time.
I don't know that it makes any more sense. Can I tell you the couple things that I think might be better in the movie than the show?
Evanescence is one. Go ahead.
Okay, so there's 3 things. The Netflix Daredevil show does not have enough Evanescence. No. I am on the record as saying that. 2, I wouldn't necessarily even say the overall dynamic, but the 2 scenes of Foggy and Matt in that little cafe that they're in. By the way, Josie's is in the movie as well.
Cool.
Yeah. That little cafe they're in, and they're talking about it's like Foggy puts mustard in Matt's coffee, and they're just having a little back and forth about whatever. Those two interactions might be better than any of. I like Matt and Foggy's relationship in the Netflix show. Those two interactions are more entertaining than any of their interactions in the show.
Foggy is Jon Favreau in this movie. He's really good.
Although I do kind of wonder how he became a lawyer because he looks super incompetent. In the extended director's cut, there's a whole court case subplot that was cut out of the main movie. It's a part of this movie, and Foggy looks kind of like not like a competent lawyer.
Oops.
But also Matt Murdock's hair looks slightly better in this movie than it does in...
Slightly. Well, I'm glad you watched it.
You know what? I'm glad I watched it too.
We're going to watch Steel next. Shaquille O'Neal as the DC superhero Steel. Man, it's so weird.
I feel like I would rather go... I feel like the more through line is to go back and watch that Incredible Hulk TV movie with Daredevil in it.
You know what? No, the through line is to Elektra. That's the most direct connection.
That's true.
I just want to see Steel. I don't want to watch Elektra. I know what I'm going to get with Steel. Yeah. Anyways, my thing I'm into this week, I've definitely talked about it before, and I think I maybe talked about it last week, but I finished it this week. Lock and Key. It's a great book if you want to read something that's maybe a little spooky. Mm-hmm. It's definitely darker and more mature of a story. But it's written by Joe Hill, who's the son of Stephen King, and they both have a love of Massachusetts or at least New England, and mystery and a little bit of violence. But it's also it's a great adventure, and the way it unfolds, it's expertly written. And if you want just a good new book to pick up, you can do that. I picked up the hardcovers this week, which is really cool. It came in this big case, and I feel very proud of myself for buying an adult thing like that. But we have a lot to get into this week. Oh, we forgot. We saw a movie. And we didn't mention it.
Yeah, before we jump into that, I did want to say, watching if they wanted to do Bullseye on the Netflix Daredevil show,
get the same tattoo.
But they wanted to. Why does Colin Farrell's jacket make a rattlesnake sound every time he whips it? And he whips it a lot. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but they wanted a kind of heightened. A version of Bullseye that really just loves what he does and kind of is idiosyncratic. Mm-hmm. Lakeith Stanfield. From Atlanta. Yeah. Maybe it's because I watched Atlanta and then I watched Daredevil, and that's what made me think about it.
I don't need that character exactly a Bullseye. If they wanted to, I mean, I like Lakeith Stanfield, and you can put him in anything, and I'll be happy. But when I thought of villain Lakeith Stanfield, I thought of his performance in Death Note, and personally, I'm just not a fan of that movie in general. So like, it made me upset. I'm upset now.
If you can't see at home, Sam's upset.
I'm upset. But no, hey, we watched a movie this week. We did put out a review for it on youtube.com/onlystupidanswers. You can go check it out. But we saw Rampage, and here's a quickie review because we want to talk about Avengers more than we want to talk about this movie. If you want a dumb movie, Rampage is for you. If you want actually pretty damn good CGI overall.
Shockingly, like I was really impressed with the George, the main ape. He looks really good.
Mm-hmm. Big and small.
Yeah, his dynamic with the Rock is really cool. There's
weirdly
there's several. It's definitely like the best relationship in the movie.
Negan's relationship with everybody is good. Sorry, I don't Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Whatever. Yeah.
He is hilarious. I didn't mention him in my review, and I feel like that was a mistake.
He's Magic Santa.
Yeah.
He's Magic Cowboy Santa. Yeah. He's for some reason he is written to be at every convenient place.
Yeah.
In an instant, and he does his like little. Do you ever heard that people talk about Negan has a specific walk that Jeffrey Dean Morgan does?
Yeah.
And this character has the exact same walk. It's very, or at least from what I've seen of Walking Dead, it's very like, howdy doody, my father was a cowboy. And he's like, and he's spitting into a spittoon to fight the monsters.
Yeah, and it's just, he's hilarious, and I feel like, I don't know, I was bummed that I didn't mention it. I was bummed that, because he definitely was a standout. But you want the big monster battles. If you want the big monster battles, also, if you were like me and you saw the trailer and you're like, wait, The Rock teaming up with a King Kong surrogate to fight other giant monsters? Hell yeah, I'm in. It's like the last 15 to 20 minutes. It's like the
movie's also not that long.
It's barely in the movie.
It does feel long. The movie does drag a tiny bit.
Yeah, it's that is not the bulk of the movie. So if that's the selling point, you might be slightly underwhelmed.
All I wanted was big things fighting, and you definitely get that. You
definitely get that.
And you get confusing. It's weirdly violent. And like I think you mentioned this in the review, but it's like this movie based on humor and the premise it's like 10-year-olds. Perfect. 10-year-olds are gonna love this. But then it gets like super violent, and since the movie's out, right? People can go see it now. We can talk about a slight spoiler. One person gets eaten, and you're like,
for those Rampage fans at home that like, I want like the classic being eaten. It's not exactly the same, I guess, but yeah, the person does get.
And also you don't really get why that person got eaten compared to everyone else that these monsters went through.
Yeah, a good example for me of like the weird feeling I had is like, I don't know, growing up as a kid watching Godzilla movies, or watching Power Rangers with the monsters where they're just bashing down like cardboard cities or whatever. You're like, it's fun, it's escapism. This one has stuff like you'll cut to like panicked civilians being rushed out of a building. It looks straight cut from like 9/11 footage to like a giant gorilla punching a wolf in the face. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Or the one, it's in the trailers, is like a guy in a jet is shooting and you see him fly, like you see the alligator come up to bite a jet and then it zooms in on the jet so you see the pilot right as it crushes in. It's like, wow, that's not fun. I don't need to be thinking about the human toll of this situation.
One of the coolest moments of the movie is the wolf first encounter with like some like Navy SEALs. There's like some genuine like real suspense during that scene. Also, if you thought Joe Manganiello, you pointed this out, was a main character in this movie, he is not.
No,
he is not at all. He's on the billboard.
Yeah.
He's not that big of a deal in this movie. But Teresa Sims in the comments wrote, "What was worse, Rampage or Pacific Rim?" For me, I think we differ on this.
I had more fun watching the new Pacific Rim than I had fun watching this.
Although we're not talking about the first Pacific Rim Uprising versus Rampage.
Yeah, although they are comparable in
like 90% of 90% of both movies are the same thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to humor and acting, I mean, The Rock is like obviously better than basically every actor that's in Pacific Rim.
He's definitely got more charisma.
Yeah, and his performance is better.
Yeah.
I mean, John Boyega is good, but it's just like his performance, The Rock's performance is better.
George's performance is better than most of the people in Pacific Rim.
Yeah. For me, I enjoyed Rampage more. Just because the stuff that bothered you didn't bother me as much. But that's not saying a lot. Like, so if you want to go see, if you want something so dumb, you should also know that this is the same director that did Journey to the Center of the Earth 2 with The Rock, and San Andreas, and now Rampage, and he writes and directs. That's the that's the genre of movie that you're gonna get when you go see it. So that's all you need to know. We should move into the main meat of the episode, though.
Yeah, you had a really good idea for this episode.
Because we didn't have an idea until last night. We texted each other and we said, hey, shit, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do for
But
this
also,
episode?
you were talking about this yesterday, so kind of like, it was like, hey, we can actually have a lot of fun diving into this idea.
Yeah, well, because I'm excited for Avengers Infinity War. Two of my favorite Marvel movies ever are Winter Soldier and Civil War, and it's the same directors. It's going to be really cool to see, like, all of the movie characters combined. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it.
And also, to point out, because they don't usually get enough credit, same directors and same writers. And like,
McFeely and I can't remember the other guys.
Marty McFly and the other guy, Stephen Merchant. Something like that.
No. Are you looking it up, or should I look it up?
I've got the power of the internet.
Yeah, so those writers as well, who've worked on a bunch of the other, not just the Cat movies, but several other Marvel movies. So I'm excited for the movie. However, it was interesting to me with all the hype. It's like, is there anything, I was thinking to myself, is there anything that would genuinely surprise me?
Here's something that will surprise you. It's Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely.
Yeah, so those are the writers, and they do a tremendous job. And again, that's not a diss on the movie, but it's like, I know Avengers, if all of the Avengers die, I would really be surprised. That's the way this movie's kind of being marketed. And also, you have magic reality rewriting stones. Like, you could do whatever you want in this movie and then hit
travel.
Not just time travel, reality, all that stuff. You could just hit the reset button at the beginning of Avengers 4, the end of Avengers 4, and be fine. So that wouldn't surprise me. So I was trying to think of things that would happen that would genuinely, like, oh shit, like I didn't see that coming. I think when we talked about it, I mentioned the last time I watched one of these movies and I was really like, oh man, I can't believe this is happening, is in Winter Soldier, where they're like, oh yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been infiltrated, we need to nuke S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa! And maybe on a lesser extent in Civil War, when the other super soldiers do not factor into the finale at all. Like that, when you go and see the bullet holes, are like, oh damn.
That's a great, it wasn't like, it was just a great reveal of good. Like, oh, Zemo might be he is kind of almost more threatening than the Winter Soldiers, even though if those guys got out, it would be
bad. And also, that's such a smart decision for that movie because I'm way more interested in the Cap Bucky Iron Man fight than anything that would happen.
Because it was emotionally charged. It was really good, and the reveal for Civil War, because guys, we're working our way through Phase 3 right now before the release of Avengers: Infinity War, and it's been pretty. I mean, Civil War is just really good. Yes. But the reveal for Iron Man in that movie, the first time I watched it, I was so just engrossed in it that I didn't think about the significance of seeing those scenes early in the movie. Even though once it lines up, you're like, oh no. Yeah. Oh, you said it collectively. Everyone in the theater said, oh no. Remember?
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was sad, but it was pretty cool. But yeah, I get what you're saying. That there hasn't been a big surprise. Actually, it just made me think that I mentioned this yesterday when we were talking. When Coulson died in the first Avengers movie,
that's like, a good one.
Oh
too.
No!
I kind of wish there was some reality. Rewatching Civil War, I don't know how this would ever been possible. I wish you could have gone in not knowing about Spider-Man, not knowing about Giant Man. Like, I would have shit my pants through the whole movie if I had known somehow. If
you could have a little amnesia, Ray. Just like delete when this movie came out, 2016. Just like June 16th, or this time we wrote a source fed video on Spider-Man being in the movie, and we'll erase these memories, and you'll just watch Civil War. You're like, cool.
Yeah, you'd be floored. I mean,
when Queens popped up, maybe you would figure it out pretty quick because you know Queens.
I don't.
I don't think I would.
No, I wouldn't either. It's not until like you see the kid with thing, and he comes in, he says, "Oh man," you're like,
"Oh, what?" It's a good scene.
And then the Giant Man reveal, the other closest one that I wish I could have gone in somehow with marketing the way it is. I don't know how. Thor Ragnarok, not knowing Hulk was in it, because the way the movie plays out is as if you shouldn't know. Like, they keep talking about the Grandmaster's champion. You're like, oh, whatever. And then it's like, if you didn't know and then Hulk popped up, like, it would have been great. It would have been amazing.
But I get, marketing-wise, like, you kind of need...
I don't blame him.
A big boy there.
So for you, what could happen in this movie that would really, like, oh, man, I did not see that coming at all? Or suspect it.
Well, so, guys, this is just fan theory stuff. It's not based on... Because I know I do New Rockstars videos where we like talk about this or break down TV spots. So I'm not going to mention anything that I may have seen by watching something. I'm trying my best. Unless I get hired to watch one, that's the only reason I'd actually watch anything until the movie comes out.
Boys gotta get paid.
I gotta get paid,
you gotta eat food.
I think the way a lot of the deaths could mean something. I feel like if people do die in this, is based on the reactions and the insignificance of each other. Like when Rhodey got hurt in Civil War, it meant a lot because we saw how Tony was reacting to it. Also, Don Cheadle acted the shit out of that scene. It's very scary when it's happening. It would be how other people reacted to it, and I think that would be really interesting. Like if like Spider-Man were to die, that'd be so super dumb for them to do it because it's a kid, and that would be weird. You'd come into question like, why is Tony bringing Spider-Man here?
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because I think there will be a lot of things that are emotionally resonant. I just don't know if they'll be surprising. Except you brought up a good one. Like in my mind, it's like, I'm kind of just going in assuming like the big three are snuffed out. Whatever. None of that would surprise me.
Probably not Spider-Man? Thor. Probably not Thor. Who's the other third?
The top three: Thor, Cap, Iron Man.
I don't think Thor.
But again, they can bring him back. Why not kill him?
Because.
But the one that would surprise me, Spider-Man, because he is a kid. It's like that would catch me off guard.
I think it would be interesting if we saw it. I think at some point we might, maybe not in this movie, but Avengers 4 will get somebody using the stones. It would be really interesting in this movie to see them try to use them before Thanos gets there. Well,
Doctor Strange already can.
He can, but what if you had, I think the only two we have are the Time and the Mind Stone. And based on like trailers, Shuri's going to help Vision in some way, with the stone, that's such a cool way to use Black Panther's sister. That's so cool. Hopefully she gets a costume. That'd be fun. She's got a little got a little cat whistles. What are those?
Shuri and her cat whistles.
Her cat whistles. The cat cannons. Much better than cat whistles. It would be interesting if they try to utilize them in some way. Like we could talk about the deaths of like, what if Groot just got like brutally murdered? Wait, we've already gotten that. He got annihilated by a spaceship.
He got blown up.
Man, what if there's like a press image from Entertainment Weekly of Thanos like grabbing a moon or something? What if like one person stands in the way of that moon?
And what if one person is on that moon.
What if you? But okay, so you remember in Transformers 5?
Yeah.
Memorable movie.
Yeah.
But when
classic.
you get that thunk from outside of Earth when Cybertron hits it.
Yeah.
So what you get is from like whatever planet they're on, Titan probably or something like that, and they grab the moon, they bring it down, and then from space you see the moon just skid across the planet, but you can still tell it's just smearing somebody along the surface of the planet. And Dr. Shear's like, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. That would be an uh-oh moment.
That would be an uh-oh. I think for me, one of the biggest surprises that I don't expect is if either you referenced any of the Defenders or if you referenced any of the Fox characters.
Oh, man.
That they could be getting. Like, even not even showing up, because we would have had cast announcements and da-da-da-da, but, like, acknowledge that they exist in some way.
You know, it'd be
like the
coolest
Shi'ar
way.
line in Legion.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But you know what would be the way I'd like it if you did like one of the when they were trying to figure out how to use the stones. Someone talks about reaching out to Richards, and that's all you say. Like that's all you hear, and you're like,
kind of like the
what?
Doctor Strange reference in the Stephen Strange reference in Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
like it's just a name check.
Just the name check. Also, did you know there's Doctor Voodoo? Like there's two references to.
Refer to him as Brother Voodoo, please.
Brother Voodoo.
Yeah, because he's not a doctor. It really bothers me that once he became Sorcerer Supreme, that he became Doctor Voodoo. It's like that's not how.
Oh no, he's still Brother Voodoo.
Any of that work, but they referred. They started referring to him as Doctor Voodoo.
Oh,
it's like that's not how anything works. Doctor Strange is not referred to as Doctor because he's Sorcerer Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
It's because he's actually a doctor.
All right, angry fan over there. I just got the name mixed up. But you get a reference to him in a subtle way, which is cool. So if you had like Richards mentioned in a subtle way, or you had a Storm reference, because you could have if they're going to space. Maybe they have like a exploratory or experimental space program. Here we go. And you could look through like a pilot list name and you see Johnny Storm written there.
Yeah. That would be cool. Something that would really make my day. Avengers leading to this is not what would make my day. This leads to it. Avengers decimated after fight with Thanos. Like big ones taken out. What do we like? All hope is lost. What do we do? And then maybe it'd be a classic shout out to very first Nick Fury appearance when he's Iron Man. You're part of a bigger universe. Maybe Nick Fury pops up. Somebody pops up like, hey, you guys aren't the only heroes out here. Boom, the Defenders show up behind them. No, you're giving me a face. You're giving me a face. I'm just saying it'd be
because
cool.
It's not. Oh, of course, and it's not that I disagree with. That would be cool. But it's like
Finn Jones lights his hand
It's
out.
like you're about to you want to win the championship of soccer, and you're like, don't worry, we got backup, and it's club soccer. It's a bunch of kids, and you're like, this doesn't help anyone. Thanos is literally rewriting time, and you brought Jessica Jones.
Well, but it's more like maybe it's not like, hey, who's going to stop Thanos, but it's more like who's going to keep the city safe while we're off doing like.
That's true. You could do that.
Something along those lines, because I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
It's like, because it's always cool when you see the lineup, but you're like, you can see who's doing gonna do the heavy lifting in this fight. And it's like, don't worry, we got backup. And Beta Ray Bill shows up, and you're like, what does this mean in the context of?
I'm bummed we never got Beta Ray Bill.
I'm fine that we didn't get. Would it be cool? Sure, but the way like. You got Korg and you got Meek. And you got Meek.
Oh, I definitely wanted Beta Ray Bill before I could ever want that version of Korg.
What about Meek? He's not a lot. You told me you wanted the toy of Meek.
I do want the toy Meek. I'd just rather have the toy Beta Ray Bill. I actually have a toy Beta Ray Bill back when Silver Surfer had his own animated series.
See?
Yeah.
I don't know why I said see. That negated what I was saying. Okay. Here's the dream.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm going to rewrite it. Okay. Nick Fury shows up. He's like, don't worry. I've got some help. Turns the camera, lifts up the eye patch, wink, closes it. And then, so Captain Marvel shows up. So, really cool. Like, Brie Larson actually shows up in this movie, which I kind of feel that might happen. Maybe just like a little bit.
They've been very vocal that it's not going to happen.
Of course, because they announced every other person that's ever going to show up, and they're like, but what if?
Yeah.
Well, what if? Brie Larson
shows up. Apparently, they've been trying to shoehorn in Captain Marvel to like everything since Age of Ultron. Like apparently you did a breakdown. Apparently wasn't Scarlet Witch's end thing supposed to actually be for Captain Marvel, and then they just
she was going to be a part of it. It was that the lineup of the new Avengers, quotes for the audio listeners, they were going to have Spider-Man there and Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel would have been super confusing,
considering
she wasn't introduced at all. She wasn't introduced at all in any of these movies.
Yeah, it would. The context of it would be like,
Yeah.
You just had a whole movie explaining Scarlet Witch when we barely understand her, and then there's another person here that we don't get. But Spider-Man would have been cool. They've wanted her in the movies for a long time. Yeah. It would be really cool, and would make people freak out and go watch the movie multiple times just to go see Brie Larson. In that, I think that'd be really cool. But here's the pitch.
Here's the pitch.
So Nick Fury's like, I got a friend I worked with in the '90s or whatever the premise of the Captain Marvel movie is.
Yeah.
She shows up. She flies down. She's looking awesome. She got her. You know, it'd be great if she had her costume with all the red, gold and blues.
Yeah.
And has that like little what's that like the
sash?
The sash.
Yeah.
The sash is always. I always love that like feature.
Yeah.
She's got that. Got her mohawk just because I always kind of really like that.
Yeah. It doesn't look like she's gonna have it, which is kind of a bummer. But whatever.
You can't win everything.
Yeah.
But then they're like, don't worry, I'm an Inhuman, and I've brought more friends.
Yeah.
And the entire cast and all their leather numbers, they all show up. You get Karnak. You get Lockjaw. You get, I can't think of any, Medusa with her buzz cut, so she's basically useless.
Yeah.
And then you get Crystal, and I seriously been vamping just to figure out who the main guy in the Inhumans
Black
is.
Bolt.
Thank you, Jesus. And he just screams, and Thanos just gets smushed.
Yeah.
Same thing. He just gets decimated.
You know, you said that he screams and Thanos gets smushed, which is actually in the Infinity event, which all of Thanos' lackeys are based around that event. All the Black Order, right?
They look cool. They look really cool.
But it has a big throwdown between Black Bolt and Thanos, and so you just made me really sad that we're not going to get like a cool
Black
Bolt that could legitimately throw down with Thanos. Like that kind of hurts my heart a little bit.
It is a bummer because you could have done just a very concise, good
Black Bolt
movie.
Can be a really cool character.
Also, copy paste Thor, man. You get your royalty kingship garbage, and then you do. But yeah, everybody's got superpowers instead of just flying around with long hair. That's the difference. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
Instead of we got the TV show.
Yeah.
You don't even understand. You don't even understand what that did to the world. You got out of that.
You don't even. Yeah, I did get out of that.
You don't even get it. But
and now you're throwing fits about Krypton.
I ain't watching that. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Okay. So those are the pitches.
Yeah.
But if there were some tease at all for the X-Men, what would you want? Actually, this goes to the chat too. Yeah, someone said they would like to see the Baxter Building as a way of like it just in the background.
I love that. I actually thought I like the idea of the Avengers Tower being co-opted as either the Baxter Building or Oscorp.
Oh, because they sold it.
They sold it in Spider-Man: Homecoming. So I've always liked the suggestions that becomes something. I'd love to see the Baxter Building. Did you say specifically X-Men? I'd love to see like a post-credits teaser with a new Wolverine.
Ooh.
My mind has started to drift to the idea of seeing a legit cinematic epic Wolverine Hulk throwdown, and I don't know that I'm gonna get it, but like I really because think about the Hulk versus Tiny Abomination when he got super soldier powers but not full Abomination.
Yeah.
But think about that if that's Wolverine made now, it's like that would actually be really cool. But not that this would be I think a post-credit scene with the new Wolverine makes the most sense to me and would get the people the most excited because he is the most popular.
It would be really cool if we got some form of the Hulk's gonna be in this movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you got some form of a fastball special with like Black Panther or don't do Falcon, he won't do too well if you threw him. He could fly out of the way, but like I feel like he wouldn't last very long. Do Cap. Like if you did Cap with his new shield.
Yeah, I like I like the idea of a Hulk Black Panther fastball special. That'd be really fun.
Right? Like cuz it just gets some form of it. There's no way that move's copyrighted. Just don't call it that. Just throw somebody.
Yeah.
Hulk's hasn't thrown anybody. He saved people out of the air. That would be a cool just a visual to get.
Yeah, visual reference. Although I don't know that we would get anything like that because now the X-Men movie's even further out. I feel like we've got to clear the table of the current X films except maybe Deadpool. And then before we start getting into any...
What if Deadpool gets pulled over first?
It'd be weird.
Do
you think they're gonna... It makes money. Deadpool makes money, so it'd be dumb of them to not do it. Or it just feels weird to have a Disney-owned Deadpool movie.
Too late. They kind of already... They own it a little bit.
Yeah. But you know what I mean?
It would be strange. But hey...
Do you think they do other R-rated movies? Just Deadpool. Deadpool gets the pass. They wouldn't try and do like an R-rated Moon Knight movie or something.
Nah, I think Moon Knight's a little lower on their list. I think they'd want to. I'm gonna take that back because they've made other characters work way faster. Yeah. So I don't know.
Blade. We've talked about
Blade would be really cool.
We've talked about incorporating Blade into the TV shows.
Goddamn Wesley Snipes showed up in this movie. And you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
But you'd love it.
Yes, of course. And it would be more. No offense, it'd be slightly more impressive than Jessica Jones because he's got the swords and stuff.
No, but it's interesting because people have always, because of tone, people have associated like Blade with the Netflix shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But remember, Blade had movies that made a lot of money.
Yeah,
I feel like
crazy amount of money.
They're gonna make a Blade movie before they put him with the shows because his just like even though Spider-Man, I think with his wealth of characters would work really well on TV, his movies make movie money. So I think. So if Deadpool's over, Deadpool's making money rated R, it's like, why wouldn't they try and do like a Blade rated R movie? You know what I mean? If they have their own like Marvel Knights or whatever imprint for like that stuff. I don't know.
I think
Wesley Snipes that would surprise me. Wesley Snipes is Blade.
You're like, what? What? Okay.
And then he kills Thanos. He just chops off Thanos' hand.
And then sucks the blood out. All that purple blood. It would surprise me. I'm trying to think of other space people. Silver Surfer would be pretty cool.
I would love Silver Surfer because you haven't read the Infinity Gauntlet.
What if that's the Fantastic Four tease you got with Silver Surfer?
This movie, I would prefer it more just because Silver Surfer plays a very key part in the Infinity Gauntlet story.
Yeah, I do know what he does in that story. Yeah. It's kind of him crashing into the Sanctum is similar to what Banner's doing in this movie based on the trailer.
Yeah. What about Adam Warlock? They set a tease for him at the end of Guardians 2. What if we assume that would pay off in Guardians 3? What if he shows up here?
It would be interesting, like because he's not with the Guardians when you see like the trailer. Yeah. Maybe he's off doing Space Jesus stuff. While he's,
he'd probably pull a Vision and come in at the third act and be like, "Hello,
I'm Gold. Not great in direct sunlight. You can't look at me." I don't know. It would be. I don't know if that would make me like super excited because Giant Man was like it's imposing. It's a totally new element that they've never played with. Adam Warlock, does he have a power that's outside of strength and flying and stuff? Like,
he's got Space Jesus powers.
But what does that mean?
Hey, listen,
because he can fly, so walking on water, no offense.
But he's got energy manipulation stuff like that. He's normally associated with the Soul Stone, which we haven't gotten yet.
That could be the way you introduce it.
In the beginning of Infinity Gauntlet, he was trapped in the Soul Stone. You know what I mean? And so he's very closely associated with that. So that could be an interesting dimension. And also it could be a way to get... Because aesthetically, him and Silver Surfer are similar, except that he's gold and Silver Surfer's silver and he's got hair. Also, his Infinity Gauntlet costume is dope. It's fucking rad.
A lot of drapes.
He's got a cave. He's got a cave,
Of course he's got to have a cave. How's he going to steer in space?
So it might be an interesting, like... And because he's so associated with that storyline, I think it'd be cool to see. And it might be the closest I actually get to Silver Surfer in that.
People are saying in the chat that they'd be down for Deadpool, probably wouldn't show up, but they'd also be very down for Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Could you imagine Wesley Snipes' Blade with Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool? They would not get along.
With Ryan Reynolds' character from Blade 3 showing up?
They probably don't like each other. That's an interesting point. Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes probably do not get along.
No.
In real life.
Probably not. Or maybe they do, hopefully. Who knows? But it could be... I just had a thought. It just escaped. It would be cool to get a tease at the very least of the bigger Marvel universe. You get these 5 storylines where it's like they've done it through the posters, or maybe it's not 5 stories, but like 5 teams in a way.
Yeah.
If this as the movie goes, where it's like the Space Stone, Mind Stone, Ether, Time Stone, and Power Stone. Those are the 5 we have so far.
Yeah. Is that how they're breaking it up, team-wise?
Or those are the colors that they've been using on all the posters. But it would be cool to get a tease of how the world's reacting to this, because it's a multi-point invasion all over the world. So there should be a very big reaction from most people on the planet.
Yeah.
So Jessica Jones Season 3 that just got confirmed, there's no way you should be like, yeah, it was...
Incident 2.
I was doing a case. Couldn't go out. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Run out there, give a little punch.
Yeah. Especially since they're fighting in New York.
Probably in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know.
Probably in every neighborhood.
Probably every neighborhood.
So we got some tweets of stuff that would surprise you guys. But before we dive into that, let's do a quick hello to our pals at Beachbody.
Hello. Beach Body on Demand. Beach Body on Demand. What? Beach Body on Demand. Beach Body on Demand. Dun, dun. Cool. Here you go. You want to clap?
Yes.
There's a clap. All right, let's move into some tweets. First up, Benjamin Ho at Fantobi8. That's a nice username. I like that one. They wrote, if Phil Coulson shoulder.
This is stuff that would...
Wow, I messed up that sentence so bad.
This would be stuff that surprises people if it happens in this movie.
Could you imagine, though?
I'd be surprised by that, too, because as far as the Avengers know, he's dead. And also,
Super dead.
I have a feeling our kind of like swan song Phil Coulson coming back to the movies is Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah. And I'm happy for him. I'm like, yeah, you get to come back. He's been part of Marvel for... I think he's done more Marvel stuff technically than anybody now. But he shows up in Infinity War with his energy shield arm. Yo-Yo runs in.
Yeah.
The new episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually that came out the previous Friday, if this is going on Monday, so last Friday.
Yeah.
There's a very cool scene with Yo-Yo that they... It was like, this is a cool exploration of what she's going through right now. Cool. Just bring that up. But if they she shows up, she's a speedster with robotic arms right now, and you're like, Quake comes quaking in, you're like, shotgun axe, okay, and then Fitz and Simmons.
Yeah.
It was science in the back.
We're gonna science it up.
Fuck yeah, science. And you're like, okay, don't know.
Very tender meat at expired meat, good one. The Wizard comes back from the dead.
If we're getting a speedster back from the dead, it's gonna be Quicksilver. We're not getting the
Hey,
Wizard.
man, listen. Now that Quicksilver's dead, everything's off limits, man. You don't know who's gonna die. Quicksilver's so important to the comics.
He is. He usually will run around with his silver hair. But like,
that would be interesting if they wanted to.
Do you want the speedster that's kind of an asshole, or do you want the one that's having an anxiety attack the whole time and hates himself?
I definitely want the Wizard back.
You don't really want
I
it.
do.
You want it just because it's a random character.
I would love to. I don't.
Name 3 of your favorite Wizard stories. Name 3. I
can name as many Wizard stories as I could Quicksilver stories that I like.
That's fair too. I think that's the same for me.
Yeah. So it would be interesting if maybe I've seen a lot of articles. I don't know if this is based on anything because I don't have to break down the trailers, so I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched any of the most recent trailers because I do like to go in as cold as possible. But people have pointed out that at least in the comics that the biggest threat to Thanos would have to be Scarlet Witch. As far as scale of power, although I don't know in the movies if she, if the scale of her abilities is similar to it is in the comics, so she hasn't rewritten reality yet.
So there is a this is not a spoiler, but there is a move she does in one of the trailers where she's got like her red ball, and she sometimes does that move to Vision in Civil War. She like kind of pulls her hand apart and like pushes him down. She does that, but it's on the battlefield, so you're like, I think she's about to fuck a lot of people up.
Yeah.
Also, there was one time when she screamed and just like melted an entire like city block.
Yeah.
So she's kind of powerful.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting if maybe Thanos uses the opportunity to perhaps bring Quicksilver back as a last temptation kind of thing with her.
What if you got... This is how we take out Thanos. Ready?
Yeah.
Vision can turn into solid. Like steel or diamond or whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Go real tall. Real tall. You know, tall where airplanes go? Tall airplanes tall.
Yeah.
You solidify. Drop like a goddamn missile.
Can Vision change his size?
Not size. He just turns into a...
But you said he gets real tall.
Tall into the air.
So he goes real high.
Tall into the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be like Superman so I can go tall into the air. Anyways.
Yeah.
He goes tall. High up. Tall. Sorry, I'll translate. And he gets real dense.
Yeah.
And he drops right on top of Thanos.
And then it's like in
it's like an Acme cartoon.
Hot Fuzz when that spider hits the...
And Vision's just sitting because he went feet first and now he's like, check it out, I can move Thanos now. It's like a puppet.
Yeah.
It's like I'm wearing a Grimace suit, huh?
I hope that happens like 15 minutes in the movie. And then the rest of it is just them hanging out.
Then the rest of it is 1 week earlier. And then you lead up to like, we don't need to know how we got to this point because you showed the most interesting part.
Yeah.
There's no way that wasn't written out on the big whiteboard.
And then they're eating shawarma at the end, but Vision is embedded into Thanos' body.
He's using Thanos' like rotting hand as like to get the with his big fingies to get the food.
So Tom Fire, speaking of Vision and Scarlet Witch, Tom Fire at Tom Fire 8 Scarlet and Vision's kids. There's also Brenda at Flute Girl 0422. Any hint of Wiccan and Speed, the beginning of the Young Avengers? I want it to happen so badly in either part 1 or 2, but I don't expect it at all. That would be a very pleasant surprise.
It would be cool, like if this is happening kind of in the future, not future, but like it's moving ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And you had like Cassie's older, so you kind of got a tease of her becoming like a
that one, but she's still like
whatever you call
10,
her,
maybe
10. Hey, here's gonna start young. Spider-Man was like 13. He's like, they're like, no, he's like 15. It's like he looks like a 13-year-old, and he's in a war right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting people with missiles in an airport. He's kind of like a terrorist. But if you had like Stature show up, which would be kind of cool because he's always fun when she pops up. They have who else would be there? Kate Bishop, Hawkeye.
Yeah.
The way you bring Hawkeye into this movie is that he's got a partner.
Of all of the Young Avengers that I'd be most interested in seeing,
she's the most
Kate
interesting.
Bishop.
Yeah, she's the one that's got the most longevity.
Also, knowing that Hawkeye's been trying to retire since Age of Ultron, he's training his replacement. Like Kate Bishop would excite me.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones, I'm going to be honest, I don't really care about. Scarlet Witch and Vision's kids. Also, don't really care about the relationship in the movies. I don't need it to be romantic.
Too late.
It's a little weird for me on a couple levels.
Why?
One, because he's a robot. Two,
why?
Two, that actor is like twice the age of Elizabeth Olsen. And I'm getting a little burnt out on that.
It's pretend.
I know, but it feels like a strange form of like every movie. It's like 50-year-old guy, 20-year-old actors.
It makes you feel
it's
better, though.
It's a weird wish fulfillment thing on the part of like Hollywood execs and directors and stuff like that.
If it makes you feel better, he's technically only like 4.
Good. You know what, Sam? Solid point.
Sorry, if you average it out, if he's played by a 40-year-old, he's 4.
And maybe that's just my way of explaining the fact that I don't really feel like a romantic. It feels more like sibling chemistry for me.
Well, there was that incestual undertone with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, so that's pretty cool.
I didn't get that in the movies.
That is 100% what they said. They based off the Ultimates when they were, because the way they'd hold hands and be really close to each other, it hug crotch first.
I've not seen or heard what you're referring to.
That is what really, because they were like when they were studying for the roles, they only read the Ultimates version of Scarlet
themselves.
Witch.
Or I don't know if that's the direction they.
Oh,
got.
they were. Well, they're given their books.
Good, because the Ultimate versions is the first version of those characters. So cool, I guess.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No.
So don't have any brother to cuddle with. I'll find this robot. Scarlet Witch needs real friends.
And she does.
Hey, and he's kind of like a human. If you made humans out of
metal
and vibranium. What's vibranium? After Black Panther, I'm like, it might be cloth too.
Yeah, it's Jesus metal.
It's Jesus metal.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Black Panther makes a giant Black Panther suit and runs out into the field.
They had a version of this. Black Panther in Totally Awesome Hulk. Black Panther had his own version of the Hulkbuster armor.
That's amazing.
That was so cool.
Totally Awesome Hulk. Amadeus Cho?
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah.
What if Amadeus Cho showed up?
I'm down.
That wouldn't be a big surprise. It'd be just kind of confusing that like 2 Hulks. If you know what would be kind of cool if one of the Rosses, not played by Martin Freeman, the other Ross, if he Thunderbolt Ross was working on a Hulk-like serum, and when this popped up, they're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm tired of the aliens showing up. I'm tired of all this, and he becomes Red Hulk.
You know what'd be interesting is I was thinking about this the other day.
With the laser vision.
Kind of in a similar note of them bringing in the Defenders of, hey, we still got some people. I don't think they're doing this, but this is the perfect opportunity to introduce the Thunderbolts.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd have to be a really different lineup than in the comics. Although you could get Citizen V with Zemo. You could get Red Hulk, and he's been in versions of it. You could get Batroc.
Yeah, he's not dead. He's in prison. You could get, if you did the Fox-Disney merger, Deadpool would be kind of a cool leader to have for that.
Or at least a member of it. But the point is with all the main heroes off fighting Thanos, if you needed Earth heroes, that'd be an interesting time for the government being like, we got our own, but they're all villains.
What if they sent Abomination in?
You'd have to choose between Abomination and Red Hulk. And I feel like Red Hulk would get people more excited than Abomination.
Yeah, I don't want to see him again. I don't want to see his bones sticking out of his body again.
They could give him a redesign. They could give him a little brush up.
Yeah, they polish the bones. They polish
they give the bones a nice polish.
Yes. What if he stabbed one of those right into Thanos' eyeball?
There you go.
Could happen. Anything could happen.
Well, speaking of that, so Thierry Fournier at 2104, Shuri putting on the Iron Man suit on. For you, we brought up an interesting point. Who did you recommend? You brought up the idea of characters replacing other characters, kind of like filling in the role. Because Amadeus Cho, that's what it'd be interesting to bring an Amadeus Cho, not even necessarily as a Hulk, just as the character, but that made me think of like, you know, who an interesting replacement for Thor would be if we're kind of wrapping up these characters' arc is Hercules, because he has a relationship with Amadeus Cho as well. Because I think that might be more interesting to me for the most part than like, hey, who's going to put on the Iron Man armor next? Like maybe just retire Iron Man and fill in that spot with another hero, like Black Panther. Like what Iron Man functioned in that series, Black Panther kind of functions as the new tech leader guy.
As a Cap / Iron Man kind of hybrid a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got the tech.
I wouldn't hate to see Bucky Cap.
I mean, no, but like if you had a leader, I wouldn't pick Bucky.
No.
I
would definitely probably pick Black Panther, or depending on how she's depicted, Captain Marvel.
But Shuri, if she were to grab something, I feel like she wouldn't grab an Iron Man suit first.
She could probably build something better.
Or she could just grab the necklace and put on her version of the Black Panther costume.
Which would be cool.
There is a version of it from the Infinity event where she was Black Panther for like a second. And she still had her gauntlets.
She was the Black Panther for a hot second.
She had her gauntlets.
In the comics.
The cat whistles.
Mm-hmm, those cat whistles. But like, yeah, I could see a version, because I feel like the smartest direction for them to go is to say, hey, Iron Man. I feel like they're going to replace Cap with somebody. Somebody else is going to take the shield and the mantle.
Mm-hmm.
I say Bucky, but like with Thor and Iron Man, it's like, hey, let's just retire those characters for a minute. You know what I mean? And in 10, however many years, we can bring back that. Then there'll be enough of a buffer to bring back new actors in those roles. But I could see Hercules kind of filling the same role as Thor. I'd like to see that.
It would be an interesting Marvel movie to make, or he could just pop up like randomly. But
Ares is really cool.
Ares not so much for me, but Hercules I feel like would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
This is for me.
Yeah.
Squirrel Girl.
New Warriors on Freeform.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That movie, that show's never gonna happen, huh?
No, it's gonna happen.
It's not on Freeform. They dropped it. They didn't want to make it, so now they're trying to sell it to somewhere, but they can't sell it to a streaming service, or they could only sell it to like Hulu, and Hulu didn't pick it up, as far as we know.
I didn't know any of that.
Oh yeah, it's not on the docket. Just Cloak and Dagger. What if Cloak and Dagger showed up?
Cloak actually plays a semi-important part in Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh yeah, because he can teleport.
He moves people around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't think that's gonna happen in this. Man, but those are two pretty people. They could show up.
Isaac Hoffman at 1-2 as set up Avengers 4 as Secret Invasion. I've heard a lot of people, ever since Skrulls were announced for Captain Marvel, they're like, oh, Avengers 4 Secret Invasion. And I don't see how that would benefit Marvel at all. One, I don't see how it wouldn't be confusing as fuck, or the benefits of it. Because does anybody want to be like...
This is how you do it. Okay. At the end of Avengers 4, you know that Cap, like, he got, like, obliterated by magic beam or some shit. You're just like, whoo, he's, like, dead.
Yeah.
Hold a funeral for him. But later you see Cap, a version of Cap, maybe, like, just out of the chamber, got his powers looking Cap.
Yeah.
Kind of wandering the streets of New York present day, and he doesn't remember who he is. And that's the tease. Like, that's like the last tease. That's like a Final Crisis Batman caveman tease. And he starts getting kind of like reintegrated, and like they're like, well, where did you come from? And he doesn't know. He does know who he is, and he has like rough memories.
Yeah.
And then more people who died start popping up, and they're like, okay, I don't understand what this is. And they're so celebrated because, hey, they're the heroes that stopped Thanos. They're the ones who fixed everything. But then you find out that they're aliens, and what you get is you get Bucky Cap versus Captain America, and you get Black Panther versus Iron Man. You get all your favorites. But then they become green aliens.
Then it's just a different version of Civil War. Like, the fun of Secret Invasion was these heroes that you know and trust. Some of them might be bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that'd be a weird game to pull now. I think people bring it up because it's like it's a way to replace actors, but it's like, wait, so you're gonna say Robert Downey Jr. has been a green alien this whole time, and now this new Iron Man is the real Iron Man? Like, everybody's gonna hate that.
That would be a way. It would be a way to get a new person to play a character. It's not great.
Mm-mm.
It's just off-brand. Like, it would be an off-brand version of that person. Like if you had who was the person who kind of gets related to Robert Downey Jr. that was popular? Judd Nelson. What if Judd Nelson showed up and you're like, You're not.
No, he's the real Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. is the alien is the whole time.
Like Jeff Goldblum will play actually all the characters. All of a sudden,
I'm down.
When they turn into Skrulls, they all sound like Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, suddenly I want it.
And he's the leader behind them. He's like, yeah, I was all done with Sakaar. They didn't want me there anymore, so I went over to the Skrull planet.
I just want who's the guy's name that Grandmaster is bunking with? Daryl. Yeah. I just want that to be in the movies.
Lazar Wolf at Robert's an idiot. I don't agree with your tweet, but I might agree with your handle. It'd be pretty dang wild if Captain America turned out to be a Hydra agent.
It would be wild. It's like the Secret Invasion thing. It would be wild.
It's not
I don't
good.
think it'd be good.
Guys, the Secret Empire event was bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was a confusing thing to do to your character, your most beloved character. Yeah, it's fun to have an Elseworld story like Injustice where Superman's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And the way that the comic built it out was really cool. That it's just somebody who went through so much trauma. Cool. But your main boy?
Yeah.
Don't do that to your
I also
main
think it was
boy.
the worst of both worlds because they set up a controversial premise. So they already started with a premise that people weren't necessarily on board with. And instead of letting that person tell the story that might have justified that premise, they bailed and did the thing they promised they wouldn't do and made it a different cap. So it's like, so you not only did you stick to your you chose an audacious premise, but then you didn't stick with it. So you did it bad twice. Either you shouldn't have done the premise, or at least once you did the premise, you should have let Nick Spencer tell the story he was going to tell.
Nick Spencer's a good storyteller.
And not like bail.
What you going to do? It's in the past. I wouldn't be super... I wouldn't be super... down for that.
Hunter White at Super Hunt 8, if he'd be surprised if Stan Lee thanks all the heroes directly as himself.
If hope he's doing okay.
Let out of the house.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Rodrigo Bastida at RobB_23. Howard the Duck killing Thanos. I really want Howard the Duck just to have a little cameo.
That'd be great.
Seth Green, come on, my buddy.
Yeah.
Come on, just go say hi.
What if he's in his own... God bless the Guardians movies, if for nothing else, for allowing Howard the Duck to have a space within the universe.
2 movies.
He's shown up in 2 movies. Technically 3.
What's the third?
Howard the Duck movie.
Yeah, I don't mean that.
That's canon. That's in the MCU.
That is canon.
Yeah.
You're right. I forgot that in the 80s that happened on Earth.
Yeah,
There are
on
giant
this Earth.
crab monsters.
Yes.
And there's duck porn somewhere else out there.
Listen, man, I don't decide what's canon in the MCU. I'm just letting you know.
By the way, guys, this is not canon. We just wish it was. But yeah, we're coming near the end of the episode.
This is a good one. This is a good one here. Dylan Huang at Israel K 26,000. If someone else took the gauntlet or the Nova Corps were more in play, I'd be crazy caught off guard. Could you imagine what that kind of power could do to somebody besides Thanos? Also, what Black Order's motivation should be surprising. I think it's just that Thanos is giving him a space paycheck and they're throwing up for death and destruction.
Yeah, they're like his kids.
Yeah.
So they basically would just do a better job than Gamora and Nebula when they were working for Ronan.
It's interesting in Infinity Gauntlet because it's a comic that's out. I can't really spoil. There's no assumption that this would spoil anything if I say.
And I don't think it's very close to what happened in the comic. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody else does take the gauntlet from Thanos.
Oh, you can keep that a secret if you'd like.
Yeah, Infinity Gauntlet. In most stories leading up to Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos is actually his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Which I actually think they explored in the recent Thanos comic, that direct idea in a more explicit manner. And somebody uses that to take the gauntlet. And I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of that in this. Because I think it'd be a fun misdirect. And also that in Infinity Gauntlet, that forces the heroes to have to team up with Thanos. And I think that would be a pretty interesting Avengers 4. If Thanos wrecks everybody. And
that would blow my mind.
Oh shit, we actually have to work with him now.
Uh-huh. He's so much taller than us. Giant man, big giant.
I love those stories. The best of those, hey, we have the villain, but then also we have to team up with them. Best example of those, X-Men. We have to take down Magneto. X-Men 2, we have to team up with Magneto. Legion, we have to take down Shadow King. Legion Season 2, oh shit, we actually have to work with the Shadow King.
That means Season 3 Legion might be a little rough around the edges. But guys, I think we have a lot of fun fan theories here. This was a fun discussion, and we appreciate you guys tweeting in at Only Stupid Answers on Twitter.
Yank out the bells from Stupid.
Thank you, and everyone who watches live through Patreon, patreon.com/OnlyStupidAnswers. Make sure you're checking that out. A lot of fun stuff there. But quickie announcements as we're wrapping up. We got a live show May 8th at 8 p.m. More info coming out. There actually, since this episode's going up, there should be some pretty solid info for all of you guys. I think I'm going to do the newsletter a little later in the week. That way I can just have all the info.
Yeah.
Maybe some people would be joining us.
Seriously, get excited for this one, guys. I'm really excited to celebrate our 100th episode with you.
If you're in the LA area, you're not going to want to miss out. Okay?
Yep.
But at DJ Talks Trash everywhere that matters, and go to chaostheorycomic.com.
Yeah, the crowdfunding campaign for Volume 2 of Chaos Theory Zombies vs. Dinosaurs is coming April 30th, at the end of the month, that Monday. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be a big, it's big, it's audacious. I'm going to need you guys to show up to help make it happen. So sign up for the newsletter at chaostheorycomic.com. There's going to be more announcements coming up through that newsletter as it gets closer.
Hell yes. At Sam Basher everywhere that matters. I do new Rockstars videos and a bunch of other stuff for OSA, so keep your beepers peeled. Thank you so much. Make sure you share and follow us on the iTunes app. Rate and review if you don't mind. Go to onlystupidanswers.com for all the other content we make.
Yep.
See you guys next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Shout out to Kevin, Steven, Ulysses, Danny Boy, Teresa, Maggie Whitmer.
Turning off?
Yeah. And I know there's probably more of you guys. Yeah, the live event, I'm very excited about it. If you're in the LA area, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's
and
really cool.
A lot of friends, and we have there's gonna be I can say this, there will be a poster there exclusive for the event, and it has all the people on it, which is so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So you guys aren't gonna want to miss out. 2 p.m. today, we're gonna be watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. We'll see you guys there.
Bye-bye.
Love you. Kisses.